You believe in freedom, hard work, and the American dream? These results proved that there is a place for you in the Republican Party.
We just have outstanding candidates. They've run good races.
Some were outstanding. Tiffany Smiley comes to mind, woman in Washington State who got badly beat but ran a smart, tough campaign. You'd also have to think of John O'Day in Colorado. From Blake Masters to Herschel Walker to Dr. Oz, it is very tough to call them outstanding. Dave Avella is here, chairman of the Republican Political Action Committee called GOPAC, focuses on recruiting and training candidates in state legislatures, and joins us now. Always appreciate you coming in. It's good to see you. I think about where we stand right now and these huge differences we see in Ohio between the ticket splitting. New Hampshire is another good example. Georgia is another good example of the ticket splitting. Candidate quality is the only way to describe this and explain this. How much sort of soul-searching and or backbiting is there right now in the Republican Party over these decisions?
Every Republican needs to assess their campaigns, and strategists need to look at what we did well and what we did right. Every smart team does that as we now get ready for 2024.
But fair enough, though. But Rick Scott was under a whole lot of pressure before this, and he said, no, I got this. We're going to get 54 seats in the Senate or something like that. If Republicans don't take the Senate on his watch, those hundreds of millions of dollars he spent in all of his campaign ads and everything else, there's going to be people coming after him with real reasons.
Absolutely. At the same time, a year from now, a lot of this is all D.C. banter.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because a year from now, when Kevin McCarthy has the House majority, that will be bigger than Nancy Pelosi's majority right now, and Mitch McConnell will use overtime with Herschel Walker to take the Senate, and we're negotiating with the president over the budget, nobody's going to remember this conversation.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't know if it says more about you or me. I feel like it says more about me. Fair enough. Where, though, and you are on the front lines of this, trying to pick the next Senate candidates, the next House candidates, by getting them involved in politics at the state legislature level. How do you break people of the mold of, I'm going to be the next Donald Trump because I am going to have the hottest, most obnoxious take on Twitter, or be the most radical because it worked for Trump?
Got to be authentic. Voters see through not being authentic. You can't be Donald Trump. Only Donald Trump can be Donald Trump. And candidates need to think about why it is they're running, what message they're going to communicate to voters, and then hope voters want that message. And what we saw in a number of these races is voters said, we are really unhappy with the president, but we're not ready to vote for the Republican candidate. That's reality.
Yeah, no, that's the exit polling. It shows that for sure.
We have to assess our message. And for all the media consultants that love to run another grainy black ad telling you how bad the Democrat is, perhaps next cycle we look at some ads that tell people what we're for.
All right. This is President Trump on the trail talking about Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania.
Dr. Oz has led an enormously successful career on television, and now he's running to save our country just like I do.
Dr. Mehmet Oz, he's a great guy. I've known him well for a long time. He's going to have the easiest time of all in the election itself in November.
Dr. Oz is a man who truly believes in Make America Great Again, or the MAGA movement.
Up until 2022, the past 2 years, President Trump has sort of been the kingmaker and the largest figure in the Republican Party. Is there parts of the Republican Party that are now saying we have to move on from him and we are willing to take the hits in the media and take the hits from his followers to do so?
The fact that there are men and women thinking about running for president tells you that the president will not be given an easy ride to renomination. That's not to say he won't get the renomination. It is interesting, though, in thinking about where both President Biden and President Trump campaigned this year. And you think about what think about 24 and the swing states. Used to be Ohio, used to be Florida, used to be Texas, or they claim Texas. None of those were competitive, not one.
Well, they weren't for the governor races, fair enough.
Or for the Senate races.
Well, J.D. Vance in Ohio was very competitive, come on.
We won.
Right? Winning vindicates an awful lot. It's a good place to leave it. It's where we left it with Scott Bolden as well. It's good to see you. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome back anytime on the set. Dave Avella, thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.